Here's the 30-second lesson on what legends know. Never practice nunchucks in a crowded room. Never eat chole before a road trip. Always take your shirt off before you iron it. Don't take a call near a swimming pool. And don't forget, saving is not investing. Legends don't just save, they invest in mutual funds. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
What if I said that the two worst things to happen to the Congress in the past 2 decades are its victory of sorts in 2004 and then the number of 99 in the Lok Sabha elections of 2024? You would ask me to go get my head examined. Before that, however, I would request you to please hear me out. The Congress party is in the news right now, obviously because of the complex seat-sharing talks in Maharashtra and Jharkhand. It has made one wise decision already outside these states by leaving all of the 9 by-elections in Uttar Pradesh to India bloc partner Samajwadi Party. In victory or defeat, in coalition or by itself, the party continues to confound both its supporters and rivals because sometimes it acts rationally, sometimes it doesn't. To understand how the party got here, we need to start with 2004. The fact is, neither the old idiom of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory or its converse, which is snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, applies to the Congress party in the national picture. Forget Haryana. That's why the two worst things to happen to the Congress in these 20 years have been near things that it conveniently declared victories. The first was a score of 145 in 2004 Lok Sabha elections, just seven ahead of Vajpayee's BJP, that's all. With this, Sonia Gandhi, helped along by left's historic peak of 59 seats, was able to put together the UPA. That was a coalition of those who could not afford to go with the BJP post the Gujarat situation, post 2002 riots in Gujarat. It ruled for a decade, the UPA, improving its tally in 2009. The second was the 99 it scored in 2024 general elections as part of the 234 for the India coalition. It putatively headed, not formally, but putatively headed. If you were a Congress loyalist, you would hail each of these as a great success and then also hail the Gandhis as BJP slayers. But if you were an opponent, you would say 2004 was a fluke and 2024 was still a defeat, the third successive time the party failed to reach 3 figures. Why would a commentator like me then call these two the worst things to happen to the Congress? And why indeed, when one brought it a decade in power and the other cut Narendra Modi to size? That's because the Congress isn't a cadre-based party. Its ideological glue is very thin and fungible with power. It struggles to survive without power. See how while the Modi Shah leadership had set out to give us a Congress Mukt Bharat, what they've achieved instead is a Congress Yukt BJP because people from the Congress have been moving to the BJP. The BJP now hosts most of the Congress party's original dynasts, including all of what used to be Rahul Gandhi's 2004 to 14 inner circle. That is from Jyotiraditya Scindia to Milind Deora to RPN Singh to Jitin Prasada and so on and so forth. Congress party's basic construct is still feudal, defined by loyalty to a family. The 2004 result defied all expectations. The sudden return to power was a lottery, but inner councils of the feudal party weren't willing to see it as such. They drew convenient conclusions. A vote against inequality, some said, Sonia Gandhi's magic, the rejection of Vajpayee's India shining, and a return of the voter to the old Congress ideological constructs. That's why it was followed by a heavy welfareism. What it postponed or actually killed was any idea that the party needed internal reform, should discover new leaders through internal competition, or that it needed to find new spokespersons or leaders for the various vital caste and identity groups, even Muslims, Dalits, various categories of OBCs. Nothing. Victory is victory, whether by a solitary run or an innings. That was the logic. All thought of change and reform was junked. The 2009 verdict only strengthened this belief. A decade was therefore wasted in this complacent celebration. No alarms were raised as UPA2 continued to lose popularity and respect, what we described as Iqbal in an earlier national interest, of which you will find a link with the description. The presumption was we were back to being the natural party of power. Another 10 years, or let's say 9, were wasted in a hopeless drift in defeat as cadres and leaders scooted. In the 10th year in wilderness, a recovery of sorts came with Rahul's Padyatra, Mallikarjun Kharge's election, such as it was. It roused the dormant loyalist. But the more important change was a new realism that the party, whatever its age, vintage, or genetics, was no longer capable of defeating the BJP by itself. It needed to stitch partnerships, and that called for uncharacteristic humility and large-heartedness. That's how the India coalition came into being and Modi was cut to 240. Why do we then also rank this among the two worst things to happen to the Congress party? That is the score of 99. Because just as it had declared the 145 of 2004 to be a big victory, the end of its political exile, a similar instinct followed its 99 of 234 India coalition numbers now. Any talk of inner party reform, internal elections, or a competition for new leadership was forgotten. And allies? Did we really need them still? Why give a few seats to Aam Aadmi Party or the Samajwadi Party in Haryana? This is our territory. Why let your allies find a foothold in your territory with your help? That post-June 2024 arrogance was over by noontime on 8th of October as the picture in Haryana counting became clearer. The summer of 2024 hadn't changed the fact that the Congress was still not capable of beating the BJP by itself. It needed the others. In fact, the one thing that the BJP worries about going ahead now is the fact that for almost 2.5 years, this prospect, a straight fight with Congress, isn't available anywhere with the exception of Assam. In Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Delhi and Bihar, it will be up against regional parties as its main rivals. The Congress in tow. It has always struggled with them. The BJP cannot make it a vote for or against Rahul, even if it keeps Modi out of the straight popularity fight, as they did in Haryana. Now it looks like the Congress realizes or accepts that it overread the verdict of the last general election. You can see it in its easy concession to the Samajwadi Party in Uttar Pradesh and a more reasonable approach as yet in Maharashtra and Jharkhand. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. Right now it looks more reasonable. For Delhi, there is still some time to go, but it is unlikely that the Congress will be so delusional as to think it can win a triangular fight with the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party or even emerge the kingmaker in a three-way verdict. The usual voices within the Congress will rise and say the usual things. This used to be my territory. This used to be our territory. How can we let others encroach? Or this used to be our space that somebody took. How can we be the junior partners there now? Good sentiments. But sentiments, nostalgia and history do not change the reality. Rather than worry about other allies finding a foothold in its feudal jagirs, the Congress had better be grateful that it is being gifted space by them to regenerate in strongholds it lost in the past. Check out its Lok Sabha gains in Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra. Those are thanks to the allies as well. In fact, greatly thanks to the allies. A little more good sense and sagacity might have won it a couple more seats in West Bengal at the BJP's cost. The last general election result also made its leaders believe that they could keep indulging the left for its intellectual and ideological guidance, if not vote shares, because the left had no vote shares. This attraction was so fatal, they discounted the conflict with the left in Kerala. Among the least noted and probably the most quaint, I would say ridiculous aspects of this Congress politics was the gift of one seat to the CPM in Haryana, Bhiwani. Of course, it was lost, but the question is, why indulge the left but reject AAP and SP? Besides some vote shares, the leaders of Aam Aadmi Party and Samajwadi Party would have added enormous campaigning power, which is something that the Congress Party lacks severely. The central confusion in the Congress since 1989, when they lost majority, the central confusion in their minds is choosing between survival and revival. If we set up coalition for survival, the question is, how will we ever revive our party? Because others will move into our space. That is again the choice the party needs to make now. It isn't even a chicken and egg question. Survival always comes before revival.